Today we are going to study about estimation of very small distances. Now, in previous class, we studied that to measure the distances of heavenly bodies, the diameter, or you can say the sizes of heavenly bodies, we use indirect method. One of the famous method which we used was parallax method. So similarly, when you are measuring atomic or molecular sizes, the objects which are very small, they are so small that they cannot be seen with naked eye. So measuring instruments, they fail to measure the sizes of these kind of uh, particles which are not even visible. For that we use indirect method. One of the indirect method is high resolution microscope, right? So high resolution microscope, what does it do is it uses your visible light to resolve the size of very small object. Now wavelength of your light is equal to around is of the range of 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom. So up to 4000 angstrom, any object can be seen with the help of a microscope. If the size of the object is up to 4000 angstrom, it can be seen with a normal microscope which uses visible light. But the objects which are smaller than 4000 angstrom, whose sizes are smaller than 4000 angstrom, cannot be seen with help of these powerful microscopes also. Why? Because the wavelength of light is minimum 4000 angstrom, and if the object is smaller than 4000 angstrom, you cannot use visible light to resolve that object. Resolve means to see it clearly. If you want to enhance the resolution of this kind of microscope, then you can use electron beam in place of light beam. So in electron microscope, they use electron beam. So what do they do with this electron beam? They accelerate the electron. Now electrons are charged particles, negatively charged. The electrons are accelerated and they are used as a source of illumination. The energy produced by them is used as a source of illumination. Now, whenever electrons are accelerated, there are certain waves associated with these electrons. And the wavelength of these waves is smaller than 4000 angstrom, which helps us to see the objects or resolve the objects whose sizes are smaller than 4000 angstrom. So this is one method of viewing very small objects. There are few more information which are over here. I'm just going to not read everything, but give you the highlight of what they have written over here. So they told us that the wavelength of light is of the range 4000 to 7000 angstrom, and you cannot view or resolve any object using simple microscopes, simple yet powerful microscope which use visible light for resolution of object, which use your normal light to view very small objects. You cannot see objects smaller than 4000 angstrom. But I just told you that if electron beam is used, if electron microscopes are used, in which accelerating electron, which produce waves associated with accelerated electrons, they can resolve these small objects, which are smaller than 4000 angstrom, very easily. Now you will be surprised that electron microscope with a resolution of 0.6 angstroms are available. 0.6 angstrom. Just imagine your normal microscope cannot resolve beyond 4000 angstrom, but electron microscope can resolve up to 0.6 angstrom. That is 10 raised to minus 10. That is the order of its resolution. And such electron microscopes can almost resolve atoms and molecules in a sample of some material. they can actually give you the picture of atoms, how atoms look like. Let me show you one picture, and I'll find it on Google and show it to you. So I just search electron microscope atom images and see, this is how atoms look like when seen through electron microscope. As you can see, they are arranged in a particular pattern inside matter. Each of different material have different pattern. So many images are available on Google. You can also view it, right? So that's the benefit of electron microscope. A transmission electron microscope has been developed which has resolution better than 0.5 angstrom. Electrostatic and electromagnetic lenses have been developed to control the electron beam, just like light is focused by glass lenses and optical light microscope to form the image of object. In your normal microscope, lenses are used. You have studied about lenses in class 10. But in this electron microscopes, they use electrostatic and electromagnetic lenses, special kinds of lenses, which can actually manipulate electron beam to get much more brighter, clearer image of very small objects. Electron is a charged particle, so it can be controlled by electromagnetic fields. Electrostatic and electromagnetic lenses are designed analogous to glass lenses that we use in optical light microscopes. Hence, we can understand that electron beam is used to illuminate object, and electron beam reflected from that object is focused with special electromagnetic lenses to form highly magnified and well resolved image. It helps in revealing detailed structure of smaller objects. Limit of resolution is further enhanced with development of scanning tunneling microscope, STM. So in scanning tunneling microscope, a very sharp metal wire tip is used to scan the surface, which has to be magnified. This metal tip is brought very close to the surface to be scanned, and electric voltage is applied to the tip. Further arrangements are there to form image of the surface up to extremely large scale. We can resolve individual atoms using this method. So scanning tunneling microscope can resolve individual atoms. Quantum mechanical effect of tunneling and piezoelectric effect is used to develop scanning tunneling microscope. Here in recent time, resolution limit has become better than an angstrom, and today it is possible to estimate the size of small particles like molecules. So they have just given you idea about estimation of very small distances, but the concept which we have to apply in this class is one practical method which is used to find sizes of atoms. So let's study this method in detail, and there are some numericals based on this method also. So here I want your attention. Several other special methods are also possible to determine the distances at molecular level. So we'll take one example of determining molecular size of oleic acid. You know what is oleic acid? Oleic acid is highly concentrated sulfuric acid. It's very oily, that's why oleic acid is the name. Oleic acid looks like some soap dissolved in liquid. Size of molecules of oleic acid is of the order 10 raised to minus 9 meter. 10 raised to minus 9 meter is a nanometer. There is a very simple method to estimate the size of molecule of oleic acid. In this method, we form a monomolecular layer of oleic acid on the surface of water. So what we do is we put a small drop of oleic acid on the surface of water. Since it is oily, its density is less than water, it will float. But that layer of oleic acid on water, it is so thin that it is monomolecular. Monomolecular means it is so thin that it has just a single molecule in it. Very thin and small layer of oleic acid on surface of water. With the help of simple measurements and calculations, we can get thickness of this layer, which is nothing but the diameter of molecule of oleic acid. Simple measurements, no need of electron microscope or complicated technologies of quantum mechanics. Simple method. We have to learn this method. Okay. In this method, we form a monomolecular layer of oleic acid in the surface of water. With help of simple measurements and calculation, we can get thickness of this layer, which is nothing but the diameter of oleic acid. Following steps are observed while forming monomolecular layer of oleic acid on water surface. So first we have to take 1 centimeter cube of oleic acid and dissolve it in sufficient amount of alcohol to make total volume of 20 centimeter cube. From this solution, we take only 1 centimeter cube and then again dissolve it in sufficient alcohol to make the total volume 20 centimeter cube. So what we are doing is we are taking pure oleic acid 1 centimeter cube and we are making a solution of oleic acid in alcohol whose volume is 20 centimeter cube. Again, we are taking 1 centimeter cube out of that solution which we just made. We are putting in more, we are making it more dilute, so putting in more 20 centimeter cube of alcohol, or you can say the total solution now is 20 centimeter cube. So the final solution, in the final solution, we have 1 upon 400 centimeter cube of oleic acid per centimeter cube of the solution, and the solution contains alcohol, and 1 upon 400 part of that solution is oleic acid. Now we put water in large trough and sprinkle some lycopodium powder on the surface. So lycopodium powder, you can Google and search what is it, how does it look like. It looks like normal powder. Where do you get it? What is the price? Whatever questions you have, you can simply Google it. Okay, so lycopodium powder on the surface of water. What happens with this lycopodium powder? Actually, as per my knowledge, lycopodium powder increases the surface tension of water, so that this drop of oleic acid which we are going to put, it will not sink in water, it will float on water. A few drops of prepared solution of oleic acid is poured on the water surface, and oleic acid present in the solution spreads into a thin, large and nearly circular film of molecular thickness. तो ये सब करने के बाद जब हम ओलिक एसिड, जो डिजॉल्व वाला सोल्यूशन वाला ओलिक एसिड है, उसको हम डालेंगे तो एक थिन, लार्ज, नियरली सर्कुलर फिल्म जिसका थिकनेस मॉलिक्यूलर लेवल का है वो बन जाता है ऑटोमेटिकली. We then measure diameter of this oleic acid film to calculate the area of the deposited film. तो हम लोग see that film will be visible. You can measure its diameter and then find the area of that deposited film. ठीक है, using the formula of area of circle. Using some precise method, we need to determine the volume of each drop of solution. So let V centimeter cube be the volume of each drop. Capital V centimeter cube है volume of each drop, and N is the number of drops of solution used to form the film on the surface of water. अगर तुम ड्रॉपर लेते हो तो ड्रॉपर में तुम्हें पता चल जाएगा कि कितने ड्रॉप्स तुमने वो ड्रॉपर में लिए हैं ओलिक एसिड सोल्यूशन की. ठीक है, तो सपोज तुम्हारे पास 20 ड्रॉप्स हैं. ठीक है, वो 20 ड्रॉप्स का जो वॉल्यूम है वो है 1 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब. तो हर एक ड्रॉप का वॉल्यूम कितना हो जाएगा, एक ड्रॉप का 1/20 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब. ठीक है, तो हमें पता चल जाएगा कि कितने ड्रॉप है और ईच ड्रॉप का वॉल्यूम कितना है जो हमने वाटर की सरफेस के ऊपर डाला है. सो टोटल वॉल्यूम ऑफ सोल्यूशन यूज्ड टू मेक द फिल्म इज नंबर ऑफ ड्रॉप्स मल्टीप्लाइड बाय वॉल्यूम ऑफ ईच ड्रॉप. अगर तुमने वो फिल्म बनाने के लिए 3 ड्रॉप यूज किए तो N3 हो जाएगा. वॉल्यूम ऑफ ईच ड्रॉप तुम्हें पता है 1/20. हमने एग्जांपल ले रहा हूं मैं सिर्फ. सो टोटल वॉल्यूम ऑफ ओलिक एसिड प्रेजेंट इन दैट फिल्म वो कितना होगा, NV मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 1/400. तो 1/400 क्यों मल्टीप्लाई किया, क्योंकि हमारे हर ड्रॉप में जो ओलिक एसिड का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है वो 1/400 है, जो हमने पहले ही उसको बनाया था तभी देखा था. नाउ दिस now we can divide this volume by calculated area of film to get the thickness of the film. तो वॉल्यूम अपॉन एरिया अगर करेंगे हम, ठीक है, तो हमें क्या मिलेगा, थिकनेस. क्योंकि वो जो सर्कुलर फिल्म है उसका वॉल्यूम उसकी कुछ ना कुछ तो नेग्लिजिबल थिकनेस है, ठीक है। उसका वॉल्यूम क्या होगा, उसका क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया मल्टीप्लाइड बाय थिकनेस, ठीक है। तो थिकनेस क्या होगी, वॉल्यूम अपॉन क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया। वॉल्यूम अपॉन क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया जो हमने यहाँ पे फॉर्मूला डिवाइस किया है उससे करेंगे, विल गेट द थिकनेस ऑफ द फिल्म। एंड वो थिकनेस मॉलिक्यूलर थिकनेस है, मतलब एक मॉलिक्यूल की साइज हमें पता चल गई। वी नो दैट डिपॉजिटेड फिल्म इज मोनोमोलिकुलर लेयर ऑफ ओलिक एसिड, इसलिए उसको इतना डाइल्यूट किया था हमने। एंड हेंस अबाउ कैलकुलेटेड थिकनेस ऑफ फिल्म इज इक्वल टू डायमीटर ऑफ मॉलिक्यूलर ऑफ ओलिक एसिड। If we make careful measurements, then we can get the thickness of the film to be of the order of 10 raised to minus 9 मीटर, जो हमने पहले ही हमको बताया गया था। सो इसमें ना तो हमने कोई माइक्रोस्कोप यूज किया, इनडायरेक्ट मेथड से और सिंपल कैलकुलेशन से हमने थिकनेस या फिर मॉलिक्यूलर साइज ऑफ ओलिक एसिड निकाला, राइट। अब इसके ऊपर एक न्यूमेरिकल दिया है, इसको सॉल्व करते हैं। इसको सॉल्व करेंगे तो कॉन्सेप्ट और क्लियर होगा। A drop of olive oil of radius 0.20 mm, तो रेडियस कितनी है, जीरो पॉइंट टू जीरो mm। इसको सेंटीमीटर में कन्वर्ट कर दूं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे रेडियस सेंटीमीटर है, सब कुछ सेंटीमीटर में, तो सेंटीमीटर में कैसे हो जाएगा ये, 0.02 सेंटीमीटर, ठीक है। Spreads as a film on water surface. Calculate the molecular size of olive oil if the film is circular with a radius 10 सेंटीमीटर। बहुत इजी है ये क्वेश्चन। अच्छा, अब ये जो फिल्म है उसकी रेडियस दी है 10 सेंटीमीटर। सपोज हमारा फिल्म नियरली सर्कुलर है ऐसा, और इसकी रेडियस कितनी है, 10 सेंटीमीटर। और ये किसकी रेडियस है, ये एक ड्रॉप की रेडियस है, ये एक ड्रॉप की रेडियस है, वो ड्रॉप नियरली स्फेरिकल है, ठीक है। और ये जो फिल्म है ऑलिव ऑयल की फिल्म, वो नियरली सर्क्यूलर है, ये स्फेरिकल है, ये सर्क्यूलर है। तो ये जो स्फेरिकल ड्रॉप है इसका वॉल्यूम निकाल सकते हैं हम लोग। अच्छा, स्फीयर का वॉल्यूम क्या होता है, स्फीयर का वॉल्यूम है 4/3 पाई आर क्यूब। सो 4/3 इंटू 22/7 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 0.02 का क्यूब, तो ये हो गया वॉल्यूम। अभी इतना ही वॉल्यूम ये ड्रॉप में जो है, उतना ही वॉल्यूम ये सर्कुलर फिल्म का शेप ले लेता है जब उसको पानी के ऊपर डालते हैं हम लोग। मतलब ये जो सर्कुलर फिल्म है उसका भी वॉल्यूम यही है। अच्छा, उसकी रेडियस भी दी है हमको, तो एरिया ऑफ क्रॉस सेक्शन निकल जाएगा। एरिया ऑफ क्रॉस सेक्शन क्या हो जाएगा, विल बी इक्वल टू पाई आर स्क्वायर, दैट इज 22 पाई की वैल्यू हम लोग को डालनी ही नहीं है एक्चुअली, पाई को पाई छोड़ देंगे तो ज्यादा अच्छा है। यहां भी पाई को पाई छोड़ देते हैं, ठीक है, क्योंकि पाई कटने वाला है। कैसे, मैं बताता हूं। सो पाई इंटू 10 स्क्वायर, दैट इज 100 पाई सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर, और ये हो जाएगा 4/3 पाई आर क्यूब, दैट इज सेंटीमीटर क्यूब। अब हमें ढूंढना है मॉलिक्यूलर साइज ऑफ ऑलिव ऑयल, मतलब थिकनेस ऑफ द फिल्म। तो थिकनेस क्या है, थिकनेस का फॉर्मूला अभी हमने पढ़ा था, वॉल्यूम अपॉन एरिया ऑफ क्रॉस सेक्शन। वॉल्यूम कितना है, 4/3 पाई इंटू 0.02 द होल क्यूब, अपॉन एरिया क्या है, एरिया है 100 पाई। पाई पाई कैंसिल हो जाएगा, 3 नीचे आ जाएगा, 4 इंटू 0.02 इंटू 0.02 इंटू 0.02 द होल अपॉन 3 इंटू 100, ठीक है। इसको सॉल्व करेंगे तो मुझे थिकनेस आ जाएगी। लेट्स सी, करते हैं सॉल्व इसको। 4/3 आई थिंक होता है 1.33, और 4/3 हो जाएगा 1.33 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 0.02, इसको मैं लिख सकता हूँ 2/100, और 100 3 बार है, ठीक है। सो 8/10⁻⁶ मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 1/100, ठीक है। सो 8.33, सॉरी 1.33 इंटू मल्टीप्लाइड बाई 8 करो और इंटू 10⁻⁻8 कर दो। सो 133 8 ज़ा कितना होता है, 133 8 ज़ा 8 3 ज़ा 24, 2 8 3 ज़ा 24 प्लस 2 26, 8 1 ज़ा 8 प्लस 2 10 1064, ठीक है। तो ये हो जाएगा 10.64 इंटू 10⁻⁻8 सेंटीमीटर। ये क्या है, थिकनेस, या 1.064 इंटू 10⁻⁻7 सेंटीमीटर। सो ये आ गया तुम्हारा थिकनेस या फिर मॉलिक्यूलर साइज ऑफ ऑलिव ऑयल फिल्म। अब इसको चेक कर लेते हैं पहले। 1.067 इंटू 10⁻⁻7 एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट। 1.067 हमको 1.064 आया, तो यहाँ पे वो लोग ने कोई डेसिमल में कुछ इश्यू किया, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, बट मेथड बिल्कुल सही है। डेसिमल में थर्ड डेसिमल प्लेस में कोई इश्यू है, ठीक है। रेक्टेंगुलर अगर वो फिल्म होती तो क्या होता, तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ इतना होता कि ये जो एरिया ऑफ क्रॉस सेक्शन है, ए की वैल्यू वो होती है लेंथ इंटू ब्रेथ, दैट इज 20 इंटू 10, बाकी प्रोसीजर सेम रहती। तो तुम लोग अभी सॉल्व करो कि अगर रेक्टेंगुलर साइज होती है ऑलिव ऑयल के फिल्म की, तो रेक्टेंगुलर अगर शेप होता तो उसका एरिया कितना होता और उसकी थिकनेस कितनी होती, ठीक है। सो यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट दैट। पॉज द वीडियो एंड डू इट प्लीज। डन, लेट्स गो अहेड एंड चेक। अगर रेक्टेंगुलर साइज होती तो 1.674 इंटू 10⁻⁻7 सेंटीमीटर मॉलिक्यूलर साइज होती। मतलब ये समझ में आता है कि सर्कुलर साइज में थिकनेस सबसे कम होती है, सर्कुलर साइज में थिकनेस सबसे कम होती है। रेंज ऑफ लेंथ दी गई है यहाँ पे तुम्हारे रेफरेंस के लिए। एक न्यूट्रॉन का जो डायमीटर होता है वो 10⁻⁻15 का रेंज का होता है, ठीक है। फिर न्यूक्लियस, हाइड्रोजन एटम, वायरस, लेंथ ऑफ विजिबल लाइट, वेवलेंथ, वाइट ब्लड सेल्स, ट्रेसिंग पेपर, हाइट ऑफ अ मैन, मतलब हमारा ऑर्डर ऑफ मैग्नीट्यूड दे रहे हैं, डायमीटर ऑफ अर्थ, डायमीटर ऑफ सन, डिस्टेंस बिटवीन मून एंड अर्थ, distance between sun and earth, sun and Pluto, size of Milky Way, distance between Andromeda and Milky Way galaxies, and farthest observed astronomical object। ये सारे एक रेंज या ऑर्डर ऑफ लेंथ तुम्हें प्रोवाइड किए हैं, स्मॉलेस्ट से लेके लार्जेस्ट तक। रेंज ऑफ लेंथ के बारे में एक छोटा सा पार्ट है। At one end, size of the proton is of the order 10⁻⁻15 meter, and at the other end, boundaries of the observable universe are extended up to a distance of 10⁻26 meter. So in physics, we come across a wide range of lengths. Along with the standard SI units, we often require different units to be used in different contexts for convenience. Some of such special units, these are not SI units, but these are special units. Okay, astronomical unit, average distance between earth and sun is astronomical unit, which is 1.496 into 10⁻11 meter. Light year, distance covered by light in 1 year with a speed 3 into 10⁻8 meter per second is 1 light year. 9.46 into 10⁻15 meter होता है 1 light year. Parallactic second या parsec, 1 parsec is the distance at which average radius of Earth's orbit subtends an angle of 1 arc second. 1 parsec is 3.08 into 10⁻16 meter. 1 Fermi, 1 Fermi is 10 raised to minus 15 meter. It is also used to describe the radius of nucleus. 1 angstrom, which is 10 raised to minus 10 meter. 1 micron, micrometer, 10 raised to minus 6 meter. Right? So these are some extra units which you must remember the relationship with the SI unit. Astronomical unit, light year, parallactic second. How many parsec are there in 1 meter? We just saw parsec. In 1 meter we did not see. See, so we know the relationship of parsec. Hey, we saw 1 parsec here. 1 parsec is equal to 3.08 into 10 raised to 16 meter. It's a huge distance. So they are saying how many parsecs are there in 1 meter. Okay, so we can use unitary method to solve this. So in 1 parsec that there are 3.08 in 1 parsec. There are 3.08 into 10 raised to 16 meter. So how many parsecs are there in 1 meter? So 1 upon 3.08 into 10 raised to 16. So this is approximately 0.325 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 16 or 3.25 into 10 raised to minus 17 parsec. So in 1 meter, there are 3.25 into 10 raised to minus 17 parsec just by unitary method. 3.25 into 10 raised to minus 17. What is the average distance of Earth from Sun expressed in light year and parsec? Okay, so the distance of Earth from Sun, average distance, is 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meter. Let's write it down. The distance is 1.496 into 10 raised to 19 meter, right? Between Earth and Sun. We have to express this distance in light year and in parsec. So we have to convert meter into light year. We can do that. See, 1.496 into 10 raised to 11, not 19. Let me just change this. Okay, so how to convert from meter to light year? Now I know that in 1 light year there are 9.46 into 10 raised to 15 meter. Okay, so 1 light year is equal to 9.46 into 10 raised to 15 meter. So how many light years would be there in 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meter? Right? We have to find 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meter, that is the average distance between Earth and Sun, is how many light years? So using unitary method, cross multiplying 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 multiplied by 1 upon 9.46 into 10 raised to 15. So 1.496 divided by 9.46, that gives me 0.16 multiplied by 10 raised to 11 minus 15, that is 0.16 into 10 raised to minus 4, or 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 5. So we can say that the average distance between Earth from Sun is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 5 light years. We converted the distance between Earth and Sun into from meters into light years. Okay. Next, we have to convert it from parsec, from meter to parsec. Okay. So meter to parsec, we just saw the relationship. 1 parsec is 3.08 into 10 raised to 16 meter. 1 parsec, I will just write here, 1 parsec is 3.08 into 10 raised to 16 meter, right? So how many parsecs will be 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meter? 3.08 into 10 raised to 16, correct. Okay, so if you want to solve this, we just do cross multiplication. 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 multiplied by 1 upon 3.08 into 10 raised to 16. That's why you need to remember the conversions, otherwise it will be difficult for you. These kind of questions can be asked. 1.496 divided by 3.08. So we are getting 0.49 multiplied by 10 raised to 11 minus 16. That is 0.49 into 10 raised to minus 5. That is 4.9 into 10 raised to minus 6, and that is your parsec. So distance between Earth and Sun is represented in light year and parsec. Let's check the answer. 1.58 into 10 raised to minus 5, absolutely correct. They have not rounded off. And 4.86 into 10 raised to minus 6, bilkul sahi. Right? Let's go to the next question. The difference between length of shadow of a tower standing on a level ground in 60 meter when the sun's altitude is 30 and 60 degree. Okay, is 60 meter. So whenever the altitude of sun changes from 60 degree to 30 degree, the length of the tower increases by 60 meter. That's what they mean. Calculate the height of the tower. Now this can be calculated by using heights and distances. So you can take this triangle PRS. So in triangle PRS, you must be thinking why we are doing heights and distances in this chapter. This chapter is all about measuring lengths, heights, distances. So any method, this is indirect method for measuring a distance. Okay, so any method is useful. Heights and distance is one of the very useful method. Okay, so in this triangle, we are related with adjacent and opposite. So tan 60 is equal to opposite upon adjacent. Tan 60 is root 3 is equal to h by x. So h is equal to root 3. In fact, I should put the value of x, not h, because I need to find x is equal to h by root 3. I need to find the height. Okay, so this is the first triangle. Now I'm going to take another triangle in triangle, right angle triangle PQS. Tan 30 is equal to opposite upon adjacent. Opposite is again height and adjacent is 60 plus x. So tan 30 is 1 by root 3 is equal to h upon 60 plus x. So 60 plus x is equal to root 3h. So x is equal to root 3h minus 60. So we got two values of x, 1 and 2. Let's just equate them. H by root 3 is equal to root 3h minus 60. Take root 3 to the other side, so h is equal to 3h minus 60 root 3. So 3h minus h is equal to 60 root 3. So 2h is equal to 60 root 3, and therefore h is equal to 30 root 3. That is 30 into 1.732. or 3 into 17.32, which is 51.96 approximately. Let's check. 51.96 meter, is it? Perfect. Yeah, so they have also used, I don't know why they've used COT and all, but this method, our classic method from class 10th, works very well for finding the height. Let's go to the next question. If the size of the nucleus in the range of 10 raised to minus 15 to 10 raised to minus 14 meter is scaled up to a tip of a sharp pin, which is of the order 10 raised to minus 5 meter, what roughly is the size of the atom? Assume tip of the pin to be in the range of 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 4 meter. Very nice question. NCERT solved example. They are famous for giving you minimum information for solving question. If the size of nucleus in the range of 10 raised to minus 15 to 10 raised to minus 14 meter is scaled up to the tip of the pin, what is roughly the size of an atom? Do you remember the ratio? I think I've discussed with you in class 9th. Do you remember the ratio between size of a nucleus and size of atom? I think an atom is 10 raised to 9 times bigger than the nucleus. Like I told you one instance that if you think of the atom to be a football stadium, and then the size of nucleus will be comparable with a small p. तुम्हारा जो p होता है ना छोटा सा, उसको अगर तुम फुटबॉल ग्राउंड के स्टेडियम में रखोगे उतना छोटा न्यूक्लियस होता है. इफ द एटम इज फुटबॉल स्टेडियम, nucleus is a small p kept at the center of the football stadium. So the, I don't know, they are now asking you to scale. Let's think about this. Okay, so here I have found the diameter of hydrogen atom, that is size of an atom, 10 raised to minus 10 meter. That is the order of the length of hydrogen atom. Okay, so now what they have given here is the size of nucleus in the range of 10 raised to minus 15 to minus 14 meter is scaled up to the tip of sharp pin. That means if we make the size of nucleus bigger, as big as tip of a sharp pin, that means it will be visible. Basically it will be visible with your naked eye. You can see the tip of sharp pin, right? Similarly, if a nucleus can be magnified and can be scaled up to a tip of sharp pin, then what will be the size of the atom? Atom will also be magnified. So let's find out what is, by how much ratio are we magnifying the size of the nucleus. Okay, so magnification is equal to sharp pin is has the size of 10 raised to minus 5 meter. So 10 raised to minus 5 will be in the numerator, and in the nucleus which is to be magnified is of the size of 10 raised to minus 15 meter. So this will become 10 raised to 15 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 5, that is 10 raised to 10 is the magnification. 10 raised to 10 is the ratio of magnification. We are magnifying a nucleus by the power of by the factor of 10 raised to 10. 10 raised to 10 times bigger we are making it. So atom is of the size of atom. We just saw size of atom is 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So they are asking what is roughly the size of atom after scaling. So scaled or magnified size of atom will be equal to, so this is the actual size, we'll multiply it with our magnification ratio. So this will become 10 raised to 0, which is 1 meter. So if you magnify the nucleus up to tip of a sharp pin, then the atom becomes 1 meter big. The size of atom magnifies by 1 meter, magnifies to 1 meter. So this is our answer. Let's check if we are correct. So yes, they have found the magnification, size of sharp pin upon size of nucleus. So this is the magnification. And yes, the answer is correct. This is how they have done it. Okay, next question. If the observable universe, which is roughly of the order of magnitude 10 raised to 26 meter, is shrunk to the size of Earth, okay, shrunk to the size of Earth, how large would be Milky Way on the scale? Very nice question. Now see, what is the ratio to which it is shrunk? So ratio to which, we can't call it magnification, right? Yeah, if the magnification is negative, then yeah, you can call it magnification. Let me write it magnification only. So in numerator of this value of magnification, we are going to put the value to which we have to shrink the size of observable universe, that is 10 raised to 7. And in the denominator, we'll put the actual size, that is 10 raised to 26. That's what we did in the previous question. So 10 raised to 7 minus 26 is equal to 10 raised to minus 19. This is the magnification, 10 raised to minus 19. That is, if the magnification is so small, that means the object is getting shrunk, right? How large would be Milky Way on this scale? Okay, let's find the size of the Milky Way in that table, which we just saw. Milky Way, 10 raised to 21. Okay. सो अगर पूरे यूनिवर्स के एक्सपांशन को हमने श्रिंक कर दिया, ये था, पूरे यूनिवर्स को हमने श्रिंक कर दिया और उसको अर्थ की साइज का बना दिया, तो मिल्की वे कितना छोटा हो जाएगा? ठीक है, देयरफॉर साइज ऑफ मिल्की वे इज इक्वल टू 10 रेज टू minus 19 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10 रेज टू 21. मिल्की वे की साइज के साथ मैग्निफिकेशन मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे, सो इट विल बिकम 10 रेज टू 2. 10 रेज टू minus 19 plus 21 is 2. 10 raised to 2, that is 100 meter. 100 meter ना? Yes, 100 meter. ठीक है, अगर यूनिवर्स अर्थ जितना होगा तो अर्थ मिल्की वे 100 मीटर जितना होगा, तो अर्थ कितना होगा? जस्ट इमेजिन, ये तुम निकाल सकते हो, साइज ऑफ अर्थ तुम निकालो, साइज ऑफ अर्थ इसी रेशियो से. ठीक है, सो लेट्स चेक वेदर द आंसर इज करेक्ट. एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट इज मेजरमेंट ऑफ मास. मेजरमेंट ऑफ मास में कुछ ज़्यादा है नहीं, सीधा वो लोग न्यूमेरिकल्स पे चले गए हैं. सो दिस आई एम गोइंग टू डू इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. तब तक ये वीडियो देखो, नोट्स ले लो जो मैंने अभी तक सिखाया. दैट इज़ इट वाज ऑल अबाउट लेंथ. मेजरमेंट ऑफ लेंथ के बारे में हमने पहले 2 वीडियोस बनाए. ठीक है, अभी मेजरमेंट ऑफ मास पे जाएंगे, फिर मेजरमेंट ऑफ टाइम है, और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं इस चैप्टर में. तो एरर भी है और डायमेंशंस भी है, काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं. तो ये धीरे धीरे करके हम लोग ऐसे पार्ट बाय पार्ट ख़त्म करेंगे चैप्टर. ऑलराइट, सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. बाय बाय.